What's happening, friends? Welcome, Big Deno Paints. It's a beautiful Monday night, it's Party Monday. We haven't worn a tie in a long time, but we did used to wear ties and it was a lot of fun, but it's not happening anymore, so we all just have to accept that. It's time to paint some models. I am still enthusiastic about painting the diorama, but as I mentioned yesterday, I just dropped one of my paints. This is gonna be a nightmare. Come on, Deno. Come on, mate. Yes. Yes. You're the man. Until I finish editing the video, I don't want to start painting anything. But editing the video is proving, well, it's difficult. I have very little enthusiasm for it. And this is why I haven't made very many videos. I like painting. That's what I want to do. I want to paint. You know? I do like making videos, but I don't like editing videos. So let me give you a little bit of lore about this character. His name's the Butcher. Let's let you see if you can figure out why. But he's actually a pretty prominent character in the Kingdom Death world. However, doesn't explain anything about why he's a prominent character or what his reason is for rocking up to your settlement and just going, hey guys, I'm here to chop off some faces. Doesn't explain any of that. Anything at all. He just rocks up and then he's like, I'm going to chop off your faces. Which is a bit of fun. Unless you're the, prospective face choppies, I suppose. That's less fun. But there you go. So you do find out more about why he wants to chop off people's faces. A little bit more, depending on some choices that you make and stuff. But I won't spoil anything. But it's not the first time I've painted him, so I'll show you in a second. The original Butcher. Which again, there is story behind a lot of stuff that happens in this game. Pretty much every 3 to 4 months there's going to be a new Kingdom Death release arriving on my doorstep. And you can pretty much guarantee that I'll drop just about everything that I'm doing. Just for the chance to paint some Kingdom Death. And then also play it. So for a bit of fun, I brought over the old Butcher model that comes, g'day Simon, it comes in the very first box, and this is actually one of the first Kingdom Death models that I ever painted. And his name is the Butcher. So this was painted 2020, 4-ish years ago. Yeah, and he's one of the main bad guys that you fight. This is him. Rampage! Doing a Sterling Archer rampage, which I love. Alrighty. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons and justifications in the lore as to why he does that. Turns into a giant version of himself. If you're looking closely enough. Alright. Yeah, so Neon Knights will be there, which is cool. What else have I got there? I'll probably do. Look, I haven't done. What have I done painting wise? Yeah, I'll take down the Frankenstein one that I just did for Mindworks, whatever that one was called. Alone, I think that one was. I'll definitely take that one down. Yeah, the Wizard will go. Arthur and Merlin will go. And just trying to think what else I've done that's good or interesting. Not a lot. A lot of my recent stuff has been into painting or preparing for the diorama or painting some board game stuff. Kingdom Death, etc. Hey Case, which red contrast did I use in terms of uh, when when are you referring to? Because I've used a lot of different paints for a lot of different reasons. Is there a specific moment in time that you're looking to replicate? This one. Rojo Escalata. I just started watching Star Trek's Discovery Season 5. I was talking about it yesterday on stream, so I apologise to those people who've already heard me talk about it. But it's very good. I really like it. Just one of my observations about Star Trek in general versus Star Wars. So I loved Star Wars when I was growing up, and I still love Star Wars now. I never watched Star Trek when I was younger, and to be fair, I haven't really ever watched any of the earlier Star Treks. The only ones I've watched are the newer ones with Chris Pine as Shatner, James Tiberius Kirk, and then Discovery. And I've got to tell you, I think I really enjoy Star Trek's hopefulness. You know? It seems to just resonate with this perspective of, you know what? We can always be better. We can always try to be better. I just really like that mindset. Not that there's not a hopefulness in Star Wars, which there is, of course. But I don't know, Star Trek just seems to resonate with a little bit more hopefulness. Silky. Here's the thing, if you do similar to metallic, you're probably about 75% of the way there. It's very, very similar. Da, 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 da. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, just go for very bright highlights and try to leave, a little bit more mid-tone showing than you might normally. These guys' faces have been taken off. How cool is that? Well, depending on your perspective, I suppose. Maybe you don't think it's cool. Sure, they don't think it's cool. Hello there, Timbo. Yeah, good. Mostly come to a close now, I think. I reckon we got 1 or 2 more trips, and then that'll mostly be it. Which feels pretty good. Gotta tell ya. Yeah, well, yeah, I think I was saying on yesterday's stream, pretty much every day, every week for the last 6 weeks I've been travelling. It's just a lot, just catches up with you. You barely realise it, you just like, bang. I said this on yesterday's stream, and I'll say it again because it's one of the best things I've ever said. It's not really. Just go and watch Sergio's latest YouTube video. Very, very interesting. I think it's probably more so than just about any other. I'm getting rid of that. That's a fucking waste of time. More than any other video he's done, it really showcases the power of the airbrush. Come on, Dano. Get it together, son. It is cheating, yes. It is. Makes me look far better than I am. No. The videos is really, really interesting to see how much work it can do in softening and smoothing out. I use it for that. Probably most of the stuff I do. But yeah, he really showcases its power in that latest video. It goes from a very, very rough and textured stuff. G'day, Jimmy. Yeah, but if you watch the full YouTube video, he takes some very stippled, textured stuff and turns it into just incredible. So always more to learn. Yes, no, I have been absent, friends. As I said before, work's been well, it's just been full on. I guess it's unfortunate. My company's thanks, Jimmy. Company's on its way out. My job at the moment is flying around the country and telling people their employment is no longer required, which is about as fun as it sounds. It's not all that. Still some sites are converting over to franchises and stuff, so it's not all sucking people, but certainly hasn't felt all that much fun. Thank you, Tim. Yes, you're absolutely right, mate. I could not have asked for a more compassionate and empathetic bloke. Yes, yes. Well, it is what it is. Uh, I would love to come and work as a mammographer. No, it's kind of an exciting and scary time at the moment. I've literally worked at the same place for 20 years, um, and to yeah contemplate starting again at a new company and working from the ground up is just a draining thought, I suppose. But we've got to do it. We're going to go somewhere. So yeah, we'll find our way somewhere new. That's nice of you to say. I like to think that I've developed a very particular set of skills. Um, no, I have quite a lot of training and skill sets in the retail sort of environment. So I feel like I'll be able to track something down relatively easily. But again, it's just starting from scratch. I've had a g'day Cragzog. I've had a very fortunate position over the last few years where, because of my tenure and because of my experience, I've been trusted to do the job without really needing to have my hand held. Which has been a very nice place to be in. It's also exciting. I don't know if I said that. It's exciting as well as scary to find myself in this position. One thing that I have decided, I was sort of giving this diorama a bit of a dry run to see if I could become a YouTube content creator. The answer is no. Absolutely not. Not unless I can employ Ben to make videos for me whilst I just do the legwork. As it stands, every other person in the role that I have within my company finishes up in the next 2 weeks, other than myself. So I will probably be the dude who puts the key in the door at the very end. I'm currently managing 4 states across Australia, which is nice. I could go for the studio album. think I've got some songs that need to get out into the world. Disney covers mostly. Yeah, it actually is a unique position, right? And I can't. I mean, I could turn around and say, all right, see you guys. I'm out of here. But I do have a redundancy payment that's going to be uh, substantial. So at the moment, it's just do the job until I can't, until I don't have anything left to do. And it's mixed feelings as well. I feel very bittersweet. My dad, I was saying this to someone the other day. I can't remember who, but my dad's worked for Queensland Rail for 46 years. He started as a dude who used to lay tracks, and depot supervisor he was when I was in school. He manages certain stuff now. I'm not actually too sure really, but he does. And so I just ticked over 20 years, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'll be at this company for probably the rest of my life. Don't see any need to move on, be like my dad. Nope. Gone. Oh yes, so we're owned by an American company, and COVID was obviously pretty impactful for most businesses, and ours was no exception. So they actually basically sort of tail end of 2022, they decided that they were going to move away from the Australian market in the way that they are as a retailer, move to a different business model, franchise model, and so yeah, sort of mid last year, they announced it to a leadership group in Australia, and then in September they announced it to the wider business. So since September of last year, I've known that my job was on the way out, but it's the rubber's hit the road in the last few months. I've been delivering that reality to a lot of people. So yeah, you can look at it a number of different ways. I like to I like to be very, very grateful for the opportunities that I've had. I mean, this job, this career has given me the opportunity to travel internationally, you know, meet some amazing people who've become very close friends. Um, my work hasn't actually, introduced me to those people, but the flexibility and the freedom that it's given me has allowed me to really experience the things that I'm most passionate about, which is obviously painting and um, the miniature hobby in general. And so, yeah, I've met some wonderful people. Obviously, Big Whaley, I met through that, and I wouldn't have had the opportunities to travel and do those things without this job. So cause it's a bittersweet symphony that's life. I'm trying to put a lot more focus on the ones at the front that are mostly visible in this process. This is the second Kingdom Death model I've painted recently that had lots of people on it. This one's a little bit more manageable than the last one. The Gumbler. It's carrying a giant ball of dreaming people. Well. My, how the turntables. Jared's just casually dropping bangers over there. Dropping an Athena that just shits on everything that's come out of everything in his workshop. What a guy. It's going okay, mate. It's going okay. We're hopefully at the tail end of travel. My beautiful girlfriend hopes that. Anyway, yeah, the frog dog. How good is it? It's a tragically bad model. I love it. One thing you can absolutely say about Kingdom Death is it does some very, very weird shit. And it does it very well. Uncomfortable. The teeth are pretty out there. it wasn't the best fun to paint, but also it wasn't bad. And I have a feeling it is going to turn into one of those models where I'm like, yeah, actually, you know what? I think I like that model. G'day, Cujo. It is indeed. This is a Killenium Butcher from the lovely Kingdom Death world. If you're new to Kingdom Death, commiserations. Are we doing another Athena challenge, are we? Is everyone painting another Athena? Is that happening? I could paint another Athena. Has Timbo actually painted one yet, or is it just so bad that I don't remember it? You got a fair bit of KDM, haven't you, Cooch? I know you've painted a fair bit. I don't know if that's yours or if you've done it for other people. Yeah, I thought so. You did a lovely series on painting it was Disciple of the Witch, maybe? With some purples and stuff. Great. Great video. G'day, Fen. Good morning to you. Any word on the frog dog shipping, mate? I did actually see a message and I shared it with a few people, but if it's okay with you, mate, I might just share that now and see if anyone on the stream is interested in any of these. Friends, if you have any interest in any of these models, just let me know. I can put you in touch with the guy who has them, and it may be a win for everyone. There you go. Some of those are limited edition. Actually, I think a lot of them are limited edition. I don't think you can get... You definitely can't get fire anymore. Don't know about the rest of them, but I'm pretty sure some of those are limited edition. So if any of you would be interested in any of these pieces, send me a message on any of my socials. I will make it happen. I'll hook you up with the right people. Australia is usually one of two things happens to us on Kickstarter deliveries and stuff. We're either right at the start or right at the end. We never seem to fall in the middle. Usually right at the start because we're quite close to China where they make them, which is great. Usually at the end because we tend to have significantly less than other other packages than other places, so we get pretty low priority in the grand scheme of things. Well, I have finished the Frog Dog, I've finished the Black Knight. I'm about to finish Killenium Butcher, so it might be time to play some Kingdom Death. Record a couple more playthroughs of the Squires campaign, which is the new campaign that came out in the Black Knight 5-year campaign. Probably a pretty good one for a YouTube series, actually. And then, try out a new campaign with the Frog Dog. The Black Knight as a nemesis. I think your verdict on the Black Knight was quite good, if I recall, Fen. The campaign, the 5-year campaign, you thought it was an excellent intro. Well, maybe actually, I think if you said it wasn't a very good intro because it was too complex, but it was a great way to play the game in abbreviated format. So that's good. Great. Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I tend to do Kingdom Death in spurts, I'm sure. Sure many people have picked up on that. But yeah, my current thing that I'm frothing at the moment is Too Many Bones. I've been playing it non-stop, which is really cool. Has he ripped all the faces off these guys? No. I usually have one game. Out on my table at any moment, and at the moment it's Too Many Bones. So playing a lot of that. Which enjoying a lot. Really good game. How's that? Seen a couple of people selling that on my board game forums. Actually, I put a couple of games to play with my girlfriend last weekend. We travelled away for weekend away, and yeah, we played Love Letter. She's never played it. It's great. And then another little one called Azul. So they were both pretty well received by her, which is good. Slowly but surely corrupting her. I haven't actually played Champions Roy. There's another one that I'll whip out for 30 games and then put away again. Have you played any of the new ones? I played the Magneto box in the Marvel Champions Mutant line, but I have the other two, but I haven't cracked them out yet. Are they good campaigns if you've played them? Sorry for just chatting about board games, everyone. Well, if I can get her into the very first battle with the lion and somehow manufacture it so that she chops off the lion's nuts, we'll have her for sure. I do this. End of year every year on my Twitter. I do my top 5 games of the year. You know, most of my miniature tweets and what have you will get a couple of hundred, sometimes even 1,000 likes. My board games of the year review gets about 4 every time, and every time I post a Big Dano plays on my YouTube channel, 4 people watch it. So it's not everyone's favourite thing that I do, but that's okay, because I don't make content for other people. I make it because I'm excited about those things, and I would like to play them and share my excitement. Sometimes that will resonate with other people, and sometimes it won't. I was talking to Mossy yesterday about board games, and I was telling her about my metric that I use to determine. Was that on my stream? I don't remember. Maybe it was on my stream. I might have been actually to you, Simon. What's my most cost-effective game? No, maybe it was Mossy. Because I talked about how much money I'd spent on Kingdom Death. It's like $3,000 plus $4,000, maybe even $5,000. It's a shit ton of money. But I've played a shit ton of Kingdom Death. So if you calculate up how much time I've spent painting and assembling and playing, I'm probably at about $5 per hour spent on Kingdom Death. It was on stream. Yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, the number one game, without a shadow of a doubt, is Mage Knight. I paid like $200 and I played 60 or 70 games of it. It's an absolute bargain of a game. Yeah. Well, it's the best way to think about it, mate. Like, because it's your time, and there's some games that I buy that I play with my friends on a Tuesday, and we play one game, and we're like, yeah, that was a pretty good game, and that's it. So, that's $100, $200 sometimes that we get one play out of. So, a couple of hours, it's $100 an hour. That's not a good use of my cash. Whereas something that I'm going to play a lot by myself, much better ROI. Yeah. Well, I'm fortunate with my group. We all have similar tastes, but we tend to buy different games, so we don't tend to get too many crossovers. Um, so yeah, it's very good. It looks weird because I haven't painted their faces yet. I've got to paint their skulls, I think. It's going to make it look a little bit better. And then maybe I'll just do a little airbrush. Just a little Bobby Dazzler. Yeah, it's better than the Gambler, mate. That's it. That's all I'll say. Gambler was a long, long day. I think I painted those guys for like 2 full streams, and by the end of it, I was like, nah, I'm just airbrushing some starry sky. Cheers. Moving on. It really is. Yes, the story on this guy, Jared. I won't spoil too much. As always, I like to keep the mystery of Kingdom Death alive because it's one of the greatest things about the game, and I don't want to spoil that for anyone who may just happen into this. Yeah, he comes out to your settlement relatively early on, and he basically says, "G'day," and then he just starts chopping people's faces off. That's it. And you can see in his hands, he's actually got a face that he's pulling off a mask. Yes. So he makes masks out of people's faces. Nice bloke. Yep. Doing some community service for the world of Kingdom Death. Yeah, he's like the fucking White Walkers in Game of Thrones, just arranging things into patterns for literally no reason. Did anyone ever read the book and figure out why they did that, or was that just a full show thing? Does anyone watch House of the Dragon season 2? Is it any good? I haven't started it yet. I think I'm just going to wait. He does do kids parties, mate. He's a real hit. Hmm. I'm sure it'll be good. Cool. Yeah, season 1 was pretty good. Bit of a slow burner. Yes, that Game of Thrones board game is probably actually the one game that got me into board games more than anything else. I used to play. I used to play a lot of Warhammer tournaments when I was younger, and yeah, the group of guys I used to stay with, they'd be like, "Come down early, Deno. Come down early. We're gonna play this mad board game," and that was right in probably season 2 or season 3 of Game of Thrones, back when it was actually, you know, at the peak of its powers. And yeah, so I've played that with some mates back in those days. It used to take us a whole day to get through it, but golly gosh, very, very good experience. G'day, Sean. That was actually first edition of that board game that we were playing initially. Indeed, Cujo, Mage Knight is absolutely tremendous. I never got into X-Wing or Armada, so it doesn't impact me. I know very little about, because I think that's Asmodee, isn't that Atomic Mass Games? Yeah, not sure, actually. Well, hope it doesn't impact too many people. Come on, Cooge. Get it played, mate. Alright. Feel like we are getting close to some little spot highlights and then a little bit of airbrushing. G'day, Malta. As close as I can get to your name, mate. I'm sure I'm butchering it, but best I can do. I'll take that. This is going to look good when we get the little faces with their heads chopped off, or the heads with their faces chopped off. Yes, I believe Malta's in Denmark, so it will be a lovely morning right there. Probably quite warm. Very multicultural stream today. Fen in Sweden, Cujo in Scotland, Malta in Denmark, Jared in Sydney, Jimmy in Melbourne, Simon in Brisbane, Yeah, mate, if you've got a link, please feel free to share it. Very good. Been a lot of good Kickstarters recently for display painters. Problematic almost, how many good ones there are. Oof. Sleeping Gods. I bought it. I set it up. And then couldn't get myself to play it. And then I packed it up and sold it. So, it's actually a regret. I regret selling it. But I tend to be quite ruthless with my games. If it's not getting use, then I tend to just boom out the door. But yeah, I think that one's a regret. I think it was. I think it may have been one that I would have gotten a enjoyment out of, but so be it. Yeah, that's pretty much it, mate. Which is a really good. It's very healthy. Most of the time, I'll actually give them a play though. There's very few games that I don't play, and I think that one was just came at the wrong time. I think I was right at the tail end of a lot of other, big story-driven campaign games, and I was just like, nah, I can't do it anymore. Yep. I sold Seventh Continent. So I'll sell games for a couple of reasons. One, because I don't like it and I'm not going to play it. But two, I'll often sell a game if one of my other mates has it, and I'm like, well, that's probably a better game for me to play in the group, and yeah. Seventh Continent was one that I got the Kickstarter and then played a couple of games and then didn't really jump out at me. But then I played with one of my mates and we had a really good time. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. Alright, let's see if we can make this look just a tiny little bit better with some airbrushing. Just a tiny little bit. Yeah, Guild's in, very close. I really should start doing some preparation for my students. It's been a very difficult time to prepare stuff. But I feel good. I feel good. I know my source material very well. Alright. Smidge more pressure. No, well, my class is supposed to be a little bit more theory. It's going to be a lot more about. Let's look at some diorama examples, and let's talk about why they work and why they don't work. And then we'll talk about how we can airbrush glaze to make everything look good. They did do it last year. It didn't work as well because nobody really got on board with it, but should work this year. Maybe we can see if we can get Andrew Bucknell along as well. Jared. See if he can display some models. Alrighty, let's add some black lining to make it done. We can move on to some fun stuff. Non-metallic metals. Let's use that. Okay, let's go. Surprisingly important step for the airbrushing glazing approach. If you don't do this, you tend to get a lot of areas that look a little too homogenized, a little too unified. I've mixed up a little colour here. Oh, hang on, are you talking about the airbrush glaze or are you talking about what I'm doing now? No, that was a mixture of elf skin tone and sort of some of my mid tones, etc. Wasn't transparent. The second one I did was a combination of red and this color, which is called peanut butter, which is one of my favorites for just adding a little bit of vibrancy back into the skin. You know, you can get a little bit lost in highlighting. Your skin can sometimes wash out. So by just adding a layer of that at the end, it just brings a tiny little bit of warmth back in. Which I think helps. G'day, Kalen. Yes, exactly, Sean. So there's different ways you can airbrush glaze, right? And one of the ways that I use it is I tend to use a mid-tone, or even a slightly higher value tone. And the reason I do that is if you go back a long, long way, Sebastian Archer used to do that with his paintbrush, where he'd add a filter over the top of stuff, and what it would do is it would soften all of the transitions, even if they were quite rough and ready transitions. It would actually smooth and blend everything out, which I thought was just wonderful at the time. And so I decided to try it with an airbrush, and lo and behold, it works. But what does happen, because the airbrush is not quite as precision as the brush, that the actual airbrush can catch a little bit too much of everything, and so even your areas which should be shadows will catch a little bit of misting from the airbrush, as it were, and that will have the effect of softening those transitions. And if you do it, if you look at what it's actually doing, it's just sort of diffusing everything, which has the impact of reducing contrast. So you have to over contrast, and then the airbrush will smooth that all out. Thank you, Fen. Lots of different ways you can use the tools that we have. I find this one very, very useful at getting a good gaming result, quick gaming result. Mate, you can come over anytime. I'll teach you how to play Kingdom Death anytime you want. Although, according to people on the internet, I'm very bad at the game. I get lots of rules wrong. Well, thank you, Fen. I think I was talking about it on a stream a few months ago. The challenge of becoming a content creator, I was just meandering through the Kingdom Death Discord, and someone was like, "Oh, where's some good videos to watch people playing Kingdom Death?" And someone recommended my channel. Some other dude piped up and said, "I watched 5 minutes of that guy, and he got this very basic rule wrong, so that was it, I was done." Never mind the fact that I've got 5 complete playthroughs of campaign, each of which probably has about, 30 plus hours of content. So there's 150 hours of me playing Kingdom Death, and I got 1 rule wrong, and that's it. I'm a write-off. That's challenging. Sometimes that's confronting to have that said. But it is what it is. I have played Gloomhaven. Yeah, I've completed Gloomhaven a couple of times on the computer version, and then also on the table. My friend Koki and I completed it. It was great. Just come to the territory, Chromonaut. You have to have a thick skin. Yeah, it's yeah. I won't go into it too much, but it's like I play board games to have fun. I absolutely get rules wrong. I think the intent is the most important thing. My intent is not to get rules wrong. My intent is not to cheat. My intent is to get it right. Sometimes I don't. That's okay. You know? Let's not overcomplicate it. Yeah, that's good. Fend also living the life of a Patreon and a YouTuber. Knows exactly what it's like. Cujo, of course. I'm sure many people have given it to Cujo. Not enough in my books, though. I have met the rage of the internet, mate. And it's okay. I try to remember that when I'm watching playthroughs of people making very bad tactical mistakes. Rules mistakes don't tend to bother me that much. Rules mistakes in games and stuff that I'm watching doesn't really bother me. But tactical mistakes, it makes me want to tear my hair out. Because it's just so obvious. I'm like, what are you doing? Just move there. And it's not even a fucking... It's over. What are you doing? Anyway. Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. Let's just do our best. And look after each other. And compliment someone when they do something right or well and appreciate it. Because I can tell you, as a content creator, it means a lot when someone says that. I'll tell you the one that pisses me off the most, Cujo, and you probably get this more than I do. But people will post on their video, "Hey man, really great video. I loved it. Why don't you check out my videos?" No, thank you, mate. How's fuck off sound? Go plug your shit somewhere else. I actually have this this rule that if anyone messages me that in a private chat, that I will respond to them and say, "No, I'm not going to do that, mate." It's not made me many friends. But I stand by it. It's the right thing to do. It's being honest. Yeah. Been blocked multiple times after that. I don't know if this bit's meant to be blood, but that's what I'm painting it as. Alright. Let's paint some skulls. Double entendre there, Fen. Love it. Are you telling me I should be nicer to those guys as well, Cooge? Don't tell me that, mate. I don't want to be nicer to those guys. I want to tell them to fuck off. I got the spear with the pig. It turned up the other day. Can't wait. Maybe I'll open it up in a bit and have a look at it, because I haven't actually opened the box yet. Yeah. Just to reiterate, in case you're wondering what I'm doing, this dude cuts people's faces off. And so these people on the ground have their faces cut off. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience for everyone involved. And he's also got a card called Lantern Frenzy, where I think he gets angry at someone holding a lantern, and here's a chopped in half lantern. And I don't know if that's meant to indicate that, but I like that a lot, if it is. And I'm just going to pretend that it is for my own sake. This one, yeah, we'll work it. He's stepping on men, women, children. He's an indiscriminate murdering machine, mate. If you don't drive him away, he will rampage through your settlement and destroy all of your resources, which can be quite demoralising and also quite game ending. he's a cool dude. He's probably the most iconic, I would say. Most iconic bad guy. Where's my Spira? There it is. Ow, that was my foot. Dude, little piggy. Thank you, Trent. You are welcome, Lucas. I tell you what, I don't know if I've told this story many times, many times, but I met Lucas. I met him at Monty a few years ago, and I don't get tongue tied. I don't get tongue tied very rarely, if ever. And I met him, and I was just like, oh, hi, Lucas. I'm Trent. I'm really big fan of your work. It's just like the worst. And his English isn't great. So he's like, oh, Trent, hello. And I'm like, oh. And that was it. That was pretty much the extent of the conversation. Then we moved on. And that was it. $1,300 and something. I was quite late. I haven't bought... Oh, that's a beautiful face. I haven't bought a lot of Spiras recently. But this one was just too good. Too good. Oh, look at this little guy. Oh, it's beautiful. 95. Very nice. There's only ever been one numbered series thing where I was number one, and it's the Echoes of Camelot Kickstarter by Big Child Creatives, where I was number one. The number one backer for the Kickstarter, and the number one project created with those fucking models, by the way. This is an outstanding sculpt. Absolutely outstanding. I am enthusiastic about painting that. Do I have a plinth? Is he a circle plinth, do you reckon? Is this one right? It's pretty good. It's that one. So what you're telling me is that single-handedly you and I are responsible for some of the greatest sculpts that come out. I'll claim that. I think we should claim that. You're all welcome. You're all welcome. Thank you. We could paint this for guilds, I suppose. Let's see how we're feeling after we finish the Killenium Butcher. And probably more importantly, how my work's feeling. I did another one of these goblins, the one with the shield, and I was quite happy with the finished piece. No, we'll put in a rod, mate. We're probably not going to use it quite... probably not going to have it up very high, but we will have it a little high. Probably something like that. I'll just zoom out. So I have a little couple of rules for my plinths, and I like for the shoulders to just be fractionally wider than the plinth. So this plinth may just be a tiny bit too wide. Having said that, it's quite a tall model, and so it could work. I think it's maybe just a smidge too big, that base. I do have other plinths, but I'm starting to run low on plinths. Might be time for a little visit to my friend Jimbo. Got this one from Nat. This little block. It's an interesting one. This one for another diorama. Take me home. I've been wanting to use this one for a while, but haven't got around to it. That one's too short. So it's this one or Sir Not Appearing in This Film. Yeah, I think the interesting block's too big. We'll pop it up there on the shelf of soon and see if we can find something soon. go back and do a little bit more on this guy. So, yes, for those following along at home, this is the latest and or last. Thank you. I'm glad someone got the reference. Well played. Yeah, last Kingdom Death model for a little while. Unless I decide to paint. Actually, I do need to paint the... this comes with some survivors. Whee! In this little... box. Which is a part of the vignette for fighting this guy. So I may need to actually do those survivors. Yeah, cool. They're sort of based on the Wizard of Oz or something. I think I was reading on your beautiful Patreon page. Is that right? Wizard of Oz or something like that? Little Red Riding Hood? Yeah, so good question, Jimbo. I like to do a variety of finishes, particularly on my gaming pieces. A variety of satin, matte, and glossy finishes, I think really adds some interesting stuff on the tabletop. So particularly for all of my Kingdom Death models, yeah, if there's an area where there's blood, it's glossy blood. If there's an area where there's slime, it's glossy slime. I'll use different matte finishes, different glossy finishes across them, because it's yeah, more interesting to look at on the table. You know, it doesn't always work. Doesn't always work in display pieces, but in gaming pieces, it's like pretty much the way to go. That's awesome. Wizard of Oz is one of my favourites. I did a Wizard of Oz diorama a few years ago. There are people who would argue it's my best ever diorama. Those people would be wrong, but I appreciate them for saying it. Oh. What do I reckon my best is? Look, it's a tricky question, because I think the best executed is Camelot. It had a huge amount of time put into it. huge amount of time. And so it probably was my best executed. The story behind Hyperborea was probably better than Camelot's story, and was a little bit more cohesive and worked better. Neon Knights is probably the coolest. But yeah, I would probably say Camelot. Has everyone seen Camelot? Does anyone want to see Camelot? I'll show you Camelot. G'day, Plank. You've arrived at just the right time, mate. Best breathing. I'll take that. It's a good outcome. Alright, let's get into a little bit of detail. From each other. I should be doing this actually, this is silly of me, but here's my palette. If I got a sculpt made for me, what would it be? That's an interesting question. Interesting question. I'm thinking a lot more about this question than I normally do. Like, my immediate answer would be the Wheel of Time. But probably not the TV show. I have a tattoo of the Wheel of Time on my chest. So that's probably the one that jumps to mind. Oopsie. Iconic movie scenes. Maybe Mad Mardigan from Willow. Coming up out of the ground. Or coming up out of that... when he gets trapped inside the tent. He fights his way out with his sword. Dun, 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 dun. You are great. Willow, get on that shield. No, I wouldn't do a version of myself, mate. That's a bit egocentric even for me. That is a really challenging question. I have a lot of artworks that I really love that I'm sure would make great sculpts, but none that really like jump out at me. I have favourite movies that I think would make great moments, but there's obviously copyright issues with those, but none that really jump out as, yeah, you've got to make a fucking sculpt out of that. But yeah, the only thing that really comes to my mind when I hear that is the Wheel of Time. No such thing, mate. It's all about the boobs. No, that I was talking to my lovely girlfriend about this yesterday. The Kingdom Death aesthetic is based on some Japanese anime, so there's a lot of booby girls. That's just part and parcel of the thing. But the actual game itself is more of a body horror thing, so that's why there's all these weird dudes with penises and all sorts of stuff. So most of the game models that you buy are not overtly sexualized. They're overtly weird. Yeah, it's mostly, so the stuff that you'll see on the website is usually their pin-up models. So they have like the game models, but then they also have these pin-ups, um, which takes characters from the game and turns them into slightly more stylized versions. So I'm going to cover a lot of these skulls in glossy blood because the faces have literally just been ripped off. So I'm not worried too much about whether these look good. I just want them to have some contrast, which will show after the glossy blood effect has dried. Should still be able to see some of the stuff underneath. What's the time? 9 o'clock. Beautiful. Alrighty. Well, my plan for this week, I'm actually going to try and record some Too Many Bones. Little playthrough. See you, Jared. Yeah, little Too Many Bones. Keep progressing with that. We'll keep progressing with this. And then, yeah, when we come back on Sunday this week, we'll probably be, well, I'm hoping we'll be at the point where we can do some diorama painting. That'd be nice. I reckon some blood spatters on this pile of corpses. It's gonna look pretty good. We'll keep going with that. soon. Let's try just a tiny bit of, where's my blue-green? Where are you at, colour? That'll do. Yes, so we will all have a good week, I'm sure. But let's all do our part to be extra nice to content creators other than me this week. They're out there doing it tough. Cujo, Fen, Chromanaut. You can be mean to me, that's okay. But let's try and be nice to everyone else. They're out there doing their best. And it's hard work. All right. No, you can just stick with me if you want, mate. You don't have to be nice to him if you don't want to. That's it. We're calling it a night on the Killenium Butcher. Be back on Sunday. Have a fantastic week. Be good to each other. You're all wonderful. Big Dano out.